Hi, Cynthia here. I'm offering meditations that are streaming around in through conversations, and these are based on my experience of body wisdom and what I've learned to practice. The question I want to play with for these next couple of minutes is trust. I hear and know the challenge of trust and trusting one another. Uh, what can we trust? And what it feels like when we can't sense trust. What is trust? I remember asking Jenny Whitelaw, who is one of the people who wrote about the focused energy balance indicator, which is describing the four movement patterns, and just got a lot of professional experience, has an organization called Zen Leadership, and she's an Aikido wise woman. And I asked Jenny one day, Jenny, what is trust? And I loved what she said to me. She says, well, trust is based in two things: consistency and competency. Consistency and competency. And so, my ability to be consistent in my word and my practice, to be consistent, to keep standing in with how I am saying and practicing things, and competency. you know, I I do practice artfully, with attention, with a sense of continuously coming back and learning how to be skillful. And I'm also consistently human. I depend on myself to not do things perfectly or in some kind of above and beyond kind of way. I'm consistently and competently human. So when we ask, and when we say to one another, inquire or wonder, are you trustworthy? I think it's pretty obvious that human beings are going to be consistent in who they are and probably competent to the level of their ability at any time. And we're not machines, we're not some better species. We're not something that's going to understand everything. We're not really in control. We're pretty wild and creaturely. We're quite reactionary even, and so I trust that we will be very human. If I am trying to feel safe with you or safe in the world, one of the things that I've learned too as a dancer is that the sense of physicality, of safety, ultimately really resides in my own body. It's really not something that I can put in the hands of someone else. So if somebody is being inconsistent or unskillful, then my sense of feeling safe is really having to do with me coming back and figuring out what it is that I want to have or be, or how much I want to have or be in any given relationship or circumstance. I'm pretty dedicated. Actually, human beings are amazingly dedicated wherever they've invested time or love or money or anything. We're pretty dedicated. It's amazing how much will come back. But if we're saying to one another, I don't trust you, and we keep coming back, that's really probably, on us. Maybe for a body spirit, a wise thing to say is I am not, I'm really uncertain about what I can how to be in this situation. I'm going to have to stay back here. I'm not sure if I want to play right now until we have some conversation or sort things out. But just to say that we're we don't trust one another is, I just don't know that that's very skillful. It may be true, what we're seeing and knowing is I see in some places in medicine or, schools or governments, things that I don't, feel are reliable. They're not consistent with my experience, and they don't seem to be very competent in terms of what I value around human care and human connection. I can trust them to be true to themselves and what they're doing and what they think they're trying to do. So, why do I want to say that I don't trust them? That's kind of like discounting what I'm observing. I'm in a really different place around what I value and what I want. I'm going to be here in my body and really listen to what it is that this body wants and needs for care. And as much as possible, find the places where that's going to work the best for me. Just a little story. When Phil Porter and I started improvising, mm, uh, that takes a lot of something, right? To improvise and create whole concerts without a lot of structure, but a lot of internal practice in a community. Um, Wonderful, wonderful way to develop wisdom and understanding of ourselves and our what we can create together. It's miraculous. But like we would in our youth, really lean into each other. We had full body contact. We were lifting one another, men lifting women, women lifting men, genders playing, in a full carousing, lively way. And we had to really get it that we had to know where our center was the whole time. Like I I would say to my playmates, please don't grab hold of my foot if my foot is sticking up in the air, because that's one thing you're really disabling me from taking care of myself. So there's like a couple of rules, right? But mostly, I got to be in charge of where my center was and where I was risking and where I was putting my weight. And where the ground was. And my as long as my collaborators were able to do that in a synced up way, our dancing, our lifts, our ability to trust the experience was pretty phenomenal. It was consistent and there was a lot of competency. And amazingly, very few accidents. In fact, looking back on my interplay experience, very few accidents in terms of, really messing up our bodies. Um, so, like, if I stay close to my body and my soul, I'm thinking that I have a better chance of understanding what's really going on for me physically. I do not want to place my safety in the hands of others, kind of with high expectations, mostly because I just know how disappointing that is. For those with whom I'm in covenant, slightly different. I want to relax into consistency of care and practice. Are we in covenant? I don't assume that we are until we have really said that and then showed up in a way that's covenantal. I still operate from that kind of an understanding, not a contractual one where you're supposed to be a certain way and I'm supposed to be a certain way. And if we don't hold that agreement, then it's, we're off track. Mostly, I want to keep coming back to the way body, spirits are going to play to the best of our ability and be faithful to our humanity. I'm really grateful for all of my playmates who've entrusted a great deal of joy, sorrow, and creative power and limit, utter limitation. It's painful, when we feel like we're out of whack with one another. I wonder if we can just say that rather than kind of naming or outing anyone as trustworthy or not safe. This is not a safe world. Never has been. I don't think it's ever going to be. It's not really designed that way. And it's safe enough and it's alive and dynamic and a great dynamic learning space in reality. So I think I'm going to just stop there. I'm going to look at this myself and see about sending it around, this meditation on how do we trust and how do we trust again? And is trust really the thing we need to be learning to do?